he's pretty unflappable most of the time. So I mean, that was a pretty rare.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but sometimes he lets the officiating or the calls that he thought he should have got, or the fouls that they were called on him. It's way too much. He's got to learn to handle that better. And I told him last night, that's what I mean. Hey, there's a lot of responsibility with heat on your shoulders. You're a first-year Division I player playing here at a high level, and I'm asking you to, be a leader and be mature out there. And I understand it's a big responsibility, but we need him to do that.
When did you name him a captain? Right off the bat?
It was right before our first game against Northridge.
Was that just, like you said?
I think he deserved it. At that time, he had shown through his work ethic the whole summer. He was great in terms of, he never misses class. He does everything he's supposed to do, on and off the floor. Basketball's really important to him. He's a very hard worker. He's a very good competitor. I mean, he's definitely, a leader. And starting point guard, he will be one of your leaders.
Coach, earlier in the season, we kind of talked about Malcolm Lee maybe putting too much emphasis on defense and it affecting his offense. Does Reeves do the opposite sometimes? Is he burning himself out on offense, and is that causing him to react poorly on defense?
I don't think that's the case. He's just got to be a better defender. Like last night, he missed, numerous opportunities to slide over, get beat up drives, and he's a skinny stand there caught. Reeves is, in other words, he's always been the center. And he played 5 for us almost predominantly last year, and now he's being asked to play 4. It's different. It's all new for him. But yeah, he's got to be better defensively for us. And he's probably the guy that breaks down the most defensively out of the starting 5, or he's right there. I mean, Honeycutt's got to be better. Honeycutt got driven a couple times last night. And part of that was, I think, fatigue. I played him too many minutes. He played 19 minutes in the first half, and I think probably 19 in the second. If that's too many, I'm asking him to do too much.
It seems like every game you're saying, I played this guy too much. Is that part of it inevitable with the guy to work with?
Yeah, like with Honeycutt, he's our best or second best rebounder, one or the other. And last night we had a bad matchup at the 3 from the standpoint. And I thought actually Lambert did play a matchup at the 3, did a good job. But right away, I don't know if you remember, they went and tried to post him twice in a row as soon as he came in as a 3, because it was a definite size disadvantage. He's going up against Hill or Heron, and both those guys are just bigger. But he did a pretty good job.
Coach, moving on to Arizona State, Kuksix is averaging like 8 points in Pac-12.
He played great last night.
22.
5 for 8 from 3. And, I guess he had some injuries. I'm not clear as to exactly what was going on with him earlier. But, he played last night exactly how I remember from past years. And he's a real matchup nightmare. Abbott's playing really well. Their record's not indicative of how close some of these games have been. I mean, they went down to the wire with Cal. It's a 2-point game with a minute to go. Last night they could have won that game. They played Washington. Washington very, very good.
Yeah.
This is obviously a huge game for both teams. And we've got to do a good job, number one, defensively. And Kukoc is a difficult matchup for us. If you look at our starting lineup last night, starting the game, I would put Reeves on him, and that's again. And he's seen some guys like this year, in that guys play more like a 3s, but he's probably the ultimate guy. I mean, he's more of a 3-man than he is a 4-man in terms of offensively. Everything's about getting flare screens or spacing out or getting wide open shots. So it's going to be the matchup for him in particular is really difficult.
You haven't.
Can I see if there's any water anywhere?
It looks like in the box score they use a 4-guard starting lineup.
But Lockett's a tough matchup because Lockett, is a good player. He's strong. He gets score off the bounce. He's more inside three. You know, they take 42% of their shots are three-pointers on the season. So they take a lot of three-point shots. Abbott and Kukoc being the most, obviously.
The three-point shots.
Yeah, I don't know that. I'm not sure. Herm's a fine coach, obviously. I think it's some based on their personnel. They've got some really good shooters. So they're getting them open looks whenever possible. Thanks for that.
Do you anticipate going small a lot tomorrow?
There'll be times we go small tomorrow, for sure, just because I think that's when we attack the zones the best. And it's going to be 40 minutes of zone, facing their zone.
You guys have improved against the zone recently, it seems like. Does that give you confidence going into this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that we'll do a good job. And this is probably as good a zone as we'll see. I mean, they do a great job in their zone because they've been committed to it from day one, and they do it the whole year. It's a matchup. They're constantly matching up. It's just like a man-to-man principles. Where it's like a switching man-to-man. They're constantly matching up. And, SC did a good job getting it inside to Vucevic, who's obviously a very, very good player. And, made some big shots for him last night. And they do double down in the post. Like when the ball was going into Vucevic last night, they were bringing their top guy down and doubling in the post, which is something that we could definitely see when Josh is in there, and maybe even Reeves is in there.
Josh missed a lot of stuff on the basket last night. Any idea what was going on?
I watched him. One thing he was doing, he was dribbling too much. He had a couple times where he should just catch it and go up with it, but he has the habit still of high school of catching the ball and bouncing it too much. There were a couple times he didn't bounce it, and he got good opportunities when he didn't. But yeah, when he dribbles it, when he's right next to the basket, it gives the defense more of a chance to collect themselves and react. And so he's got to learn. And missing 2 games last week definitely was a disadvantage for him last night, just in terms of his timing a little bit.
Do you think he needs to dunk more?
Huh?
Do you think he needs to dunk more? It seems like he doesn't go up strong. He's losing the ball.
I'll tell him you said that.
I told him that a couple weeks ago. He said, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, the one thing, when you're that big, a lot of times, like I watched last night, it looks like sometimes, he's getting hit. There's contact when he goes up to shoot, and he's not going to get a lot of those calls because he's the bigger guy. His big thing is, he's still too involved and worried about the officiating, and it's only hurting him, which in turn hurts us. There's going to be bad calls. Just deal with it. You can't harp on it. You can't focus on it.
Could you only have 2, losing streaks on the season? You've got 4 straight and then 2 straight. How do you rebound from this game immediately so it's not another one of those, not just a letdown, but another letdown following it?
Well, we've got to have a good walkthrough and a good practice today. We've got a good focus tonight. We do our Sky Report video. And, we've got to bounce back.
How do you, when you look at their conference record